to the basics, and I'm hoping, yeah, so I believe we can have that. So ladies and gentlemen, parents and guardians, and if there's a little one on the corner as you're holding them, because I've had the surround sound, it is my honor and privilege to be before you today as a speaker, as a counselor, as a parenting and child development coach, and a Sunday school teacher. And a word that I came across the other time is I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a professional auntie. So when it comes to this aspect of raising resilient children, it is a weird thing to do, to think about, like, okay, so is it that, are we looking at just the health, of which now we are taking the insurance covers and everything else? But I have come across a poem, or I'll say it's either a poem, it's either a quote that I love, and I'm hoping that you will, even by the time you start this, it is not going to be a one-touch conversation. It is, even as I impart what I have to you, it is not going to be just that there'll be a magic wand and something miraculous happens and everything about a child is sorted. I don't want you to look for a miracle. I'm not using the word miracle. I don't want you to look for a magic pill or a certain program that will sort everything out about your child. I am asking you to be willing to look at yourself as an individual, even before you have the title of mother, father, parent, wife, husband, auntie, whatever title you hold. I need you to look at yourself, that even as you're hoping to take care of a resilient child or raise a resilient child, what is happening to you? Because that's where we start, okay? So when it comes to this, we are having the paradox of our age. I want you to have this in mind. By the time, allow me 1 minute. So by the time you're looking at the paradox of our age, this is what I want you to look at when it comes to your child. So the quote goes that we have bigger houses, but smaller families, more conveniences, but less time. We have more degrees, but less sense. And we are not dissing anyone. We have more knowledge, but less judgments. More experts, but more problems. More medicines, but less healthiness. We've been all the way to the moon and back, but have trouble crossing the street to meet the new neighbor. In our case, it will be Nyumba Kumi. We have built more computers to hold more information, to produce more copies than ever, but have less communication. We have become long on quantity, but short on quality. It even looks odd by the time you look at your fridge, the fridge that you grew up in, or you grew up that is in your house, most likely it is still intact. And yet the one that you have bought recently, you have repaired it more times than you can tell. So we have been long on quantity, but short on quality. These are times of fast foods, but slow digestion. Then we have the tall man, but short character, quote unquote. Steep profits, but shallow relationships. It is a time where there is much in the window, but nothing in the room. So this is a quote that I came across. And that last part is when it comes to there's much in the room, but nothing in the room. There's much in the window, but nothing in the room. You know how you look through someone's house, you admire someone's house, but when you get in there, you realize that the things that happen behind closed doors, you would rather be in your safe, small space. So that's the paradox that we are living in. And because our children are not doing what? They're not existing in a vacuum, that's the reality they're also living in. So the paradox of our age continues. So this is a quote by Bob Moorhead and can be viewed in our own realities. And I want you, these are case in points that I put across, and I was like, okay, so that is a poem or a phrase that we have from someone who is way away from us. But my question is, for you as a parent, for you as a guardian, we want our children to study hard, but what we studied is not what what is sustaining us currently as parents. And I'm not blaming or pointing fingers, but it's a reality. Then most of us are familiar with an 8 to 5 schedule. And retiring in our late years is the plan. But the upcoming trend for the children, yes, I know when it comes to this conversation, I know I'll be trying to cover all the different ages, but the current generation is looking at, okay, so how do I become financially independent and retire early? So the 8 to 5 is not my reality. It is yours as a parent. And then people today, you included, can borrow a lot of money with minimal or less security. You just dial a few numbers here and there, and you get your finances with no clue of how you're going to pay that money back. And then you drop that line, and then you call Jahazi and you do the other. And then right now, that's what they are doing. You press the buttons to get money. But way back when, we had to give major assets, your title deed, your the logbook, for you to access finances. We still continue because, as I'm saying, it's the paradox. So we don't want our children to take alcohol or any other addictive substances, but we celebrate family birthdays at institutions or establishments that offer alcoholic drinks. And especially when the pandemic happened, we had this aspect of the bars, the cocktails, or the mocktails. They showed up in the houses because you could not go for one for the road end. Because yes, this is chat school, but I'm giving you the context of the society we live in. Now, as a parent, you're coming from a generation where you were celebrated. When you graduated, people showed up with not lorries, maybe a lorry or two, but they came with buses upon buses to celebrate Mtoto Wao, who has finally gotten a degree. But nowadays, anything can happen under the skies, under the heavens, because with social media, a child can do anything, literally almost anything, without having to rely on their education. And I'm sure some of us have come across children who are saying, by the way, I don't want school. I can just make a few videos. I can be a YouTuber. I can be an influencer. Hashtag YOLO. You only live once. And you're looking at that child and you're saying, whose child are you? And then you send them off to the mother, if you are the father in this case, but on a light note. And then we still continue. Most of us grew up surrounded by plenty of space, like fields upon fields. You even were at the river, whether you are tending to the cows or the livestock, or it was just learning how to swim and all that. We had plenty of space. But the children we have, your own included, for them to play, most likely they're in a very limited, gated community. And when they have to get even more types of games, you have to pay for them to play. It's ironical, but that's our reality. Our children are living in a world of minimal effort, maximum rewards. For example, they do a dance on TikTok, which if you were to try and learn, you would take 72 hours or 72 years. But then they learn within the hour, within the day. And if they join a certain trend, the hashtag becomes viral, or they do some weird thing or good thing. I'm not saying that it is all bad. They suddenly become famous and the money comes in. The attention is there. 15 seconds of fame. But for you, you look at your house, your car, and where you are, and the kilometers you walked barefoot or with those torn shoes. There are many, and you could write a story, you could write a book, but you can't because school fees kwanza. We lived in a world where information came away in bits and pieces. The letters, whether they found their way to you, or they got lost in the mail, snail mail. I don't even know whether we know the price of stamps nowadays. But children nowadays are getting information like a tsunami, a cyclone, a wave, continuously, the same way you are. But remember, your brain is more mature, theirs is developing. So how that flood of information hits you is very different. So my question is, what are we saying yes to? If you look at your parenting systems, I'm not saying you don't ever say yes, but most likely, even your 2-year-old or the child who has suddenly started learning how to talk, their most preferred word is no. No, we can't. No, I don't. No. And usually it's in a tone that is higher than the usual conversation. So if I tell you not to think of an elephant, just try. Close your eyes. Don't think of an elephant. What exactly are you going to think about? An elephant. So the thing that happens with us telling them no, 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 and we're not giving them reasons, we're not justifying, we're not giving factual information, is leading them to say, okay, so what is this thing that are being told? No. And if you look at society, usikojoe hapa, that's where people have their moment. Usitupe takataka hapa, that's where garbage is. And don't switch off the lights or switch off the light, whatever the case. Once you keep on saying no, 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 the children will be like, okay, so why not? So what are we allowing our children to do in safe spaces? I'm not saying you just give them freedom to do all that apartheid do. It may be that degree, that particular age. I'm not saying you just let them roam the world without any barriers or without any guardrails. But are we allowing our children to do things like sleepovers? That is a very touchy subject. Them going for a day trip, another thing. Using money. They always want presents. They always want, when they grow up, if you ask a child how much money is enough money, and they will give you a very big figure. But hata wewe mwenyewe haujaishika, or maybe it has passed through your hands faster than you could keep it together. Planning a trip. Who usually plans the trip? You or them? Or is it they're told, okay, tunaenda, and then that's a thing. Making a meal plan. Ladies and gentlemen, moms and dads, whatever the case may be, the environment our children are growing up in currently, they are being wrapped like a bubble. If you're familiar with the bubble wrap, there's a way we are treating our children that whatever we did not have, we are giving them. Too much of anything is poisonous. I'm not saying it's bad, buy those things, but there has to be a limit. The things that we were allowed to do that may have been hard for us, tough, painful, strenuous, we are sorting everything out, changing the toilet paper. They have never gone a day with taking tea without sugar. I'm not saying you make them suffer, but I'm looking at this situation of how do we grow, how do we raise resilient children? So let's have this journey. What is the greatest lesson that you have learned in the school of life? Not 844, not the years in your PhD, master's, your first degree diploma. What lessons has life taught you in a subtle, in an easy, in a simple, or in a very, very painful situation? Was it about money? How it comes so fast and how it can disappear so fast? Was it about careers? Whatever you had in mind may not really be what your heart or what suits you at different seasons. Relationships. Uliingia box, haukuingia box, ulikatia mtu, ulikatiwa, you had this aspect of whoever you sought the journey of life, you'd spend the entire journey is no longer there. You find yourself co-parenting. You find yourself, okay, kumbe, by the way, I think I'm okay. Yes, they have said no, but I can move on. I can do other things. I don't have to end my life. And this is the things that are happening even as of last week, if not this week. Is it about etiquette at the buffet table? You know how the buffet began, and then you'd always have like they bring the buns, the bread buns, and then you're like, so I've come to this big hotel and I'm only getting bread. So you eat a lot and then you realize, there's a lot more. Is it about when you travel, usiweke pesa, don't put all your money, all your documents in one place, like divide and conquer, so that even though one thing disappears, gets lost, you still have your things. Is it about using landmarks or buildings? Unajua Kencom, from Kencom, you can move this way. From Afia Center, this way. If you use KICC, it's this way. Or depending on your rural or your ocha, your home. Then, is it about how ugali and maziwa lala was a complete meal? Like when you were broke, you became an inventor, you became a creator, and you're like, what do I have in my house? And then you're like, okay, so I can figure this out. So you did not sleep hungry, but you did not have to have a fancy meal, but you still survived. So have you communicated the same to your children according to the developmental age? Because you cannot start talking about heartbreak to a 2-year-old, to a 3-year-old. Terms and conditions apply. So how do you communicate the life lessons that life has thrown your way with a soft punch or with a very hard blow, but without criticizing? At my age, at your age, I could cook ugali, chapati, mozokoi, all those things. It is not comparing, because, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot use that anymore. Your generation was different. You did not survive a pandemic. You did not have the digital space. And those are the things that we have looked at, okay? So what is resilience? Basically, short form, bouncing back. How does life, even though life knocks you down, you don't stay down, you get back up. So how can children recover from their setbacks? And out of everything else, the thing that is going to be very important is relationships, and not intimate relationships. It is the first relationships that children have. And that is you as mom, that is you as dad, that is you as uncle, auntie, that is us as Sunday school teachers. Relationships, the support system within the current generation we are in has dropped. And that's why I started parenting conundrums. Yes, those are some of the videos I put up. But I realized that the community has been torn apart, because as a parent, as a mother, you do things for yourself. Your grandmother is far away, or she's not there. Your mother is there, or she's far away, or she's not there. So you're doing things by yourself. And as I said, I'm an entrepreneur. Right now, how I was raised, family of 5, single mom, widower. I was monitored. Let me say I was monitored by those who are around me. So I knew if I'm doing wrong, I would be reprimanded at that point, and then mom is told. Right now, as a Sunday school teacher, as an individual, I'm very careful not to touch anyone's child in a way that might land me in court or before a committee or something of the sort. So that is what we are living in. I want you to take a deep breath and give yourself grace as a parent, as a guardian. There's no manual. Yes, we are relying on the Bible, but there are some things that you're like, okay, Lord, help me out. There are things that you're wondering, okay, so how do I go about it? So resilience doesn't mean that your child will escape every single bad thing, every single misfortune. If you look at your life, whether you're from a loving family or it had some dysfunctionality, because that's all the things that we're doing, that's our realities. Life has shown you Mavodhanio, has shown you Majabu, has given you such big blows, and you're wondering how you recovered. But you're here. Somehow you're here. So by the time you're saying that you want to raise a resilient child, it is not saying that you will remove every single trouble from their way. Apana. So it means that they will be able to overcome challenges and adapt. So I want you to remember, stop doing what a child can do for themselves. Can your child tie their shoelaces? Can your child dress themselves up? Can your child learn how to cook? Can they pack their clothes? Can they pack their school bag? Can they take medicine at a certain age? Can they organize their bedroom? Can they even help out with that dynamic? Or, by the way, can we come up with a meal plan? Just start slowly. And because today I'm trying to put so much content into for the few minutes I have, I'm telling you, look at your child and realize you are parenting someone who is supposed to live independent from you. Whether it will be long life, which we pray the Lord gives us, or they will have to move out, or our time on earth is gone. Can your child survive in the world that you're creating? Resilience can be learned through many channels. And the point I want you to focus in, you're not the only expert. Don't keep your child too close to you, and yet they will have to exist in a world without you. You will not be putting CCTV on your child every single day to find out whether they have logged into those scary websites. You will not be wondering, have they occurred jahazi? Have they been their heartbroken? Have they made the right productive health decisions? You will not be there. So you're not the only expert, and that's not a jab to your heart. I'm giving you a virtual hug, but realize there could be someone like me, counselor, there could be someone, Sunday school teacher, there could be someone, a mentor, there could be someone, an auntie, who is a little bit safer space, or is viewing the world according to the wavelength of your child. It's not bad to allow that. You can even create it by having the mentors come to your house, having platforms and all that. Then our challenge is, how do we allow our children to make mistakes? Because they will only know about finances if we give them finances to try out. They will only know whether they know how to cook ugali or whatever. It has to burn. My first experience with chapati, I always remember I used cold water. And they were not the fanciest or the tastiest chapatis. They were more like the geography topic of the rocks. Yeah, crunchy chapatis. Let's just say they were crisps, but with what? Chapati dough. But I learned that with chapati, you need certain ingredients. So, are you stressed? Is your child stressed? Answer is, both of us are stressed. If a mother who is pregnant is stressed, the fetus is stressed. And stress will only end when our time on earth is done. So what is your child going through? Don't say that you're the only one who is getting stressed, or that your 2-year-old is not getting stressed. Loss and grief, moving homes, changing of house girls or house managers, a sibling is older, a sibling is younger, is sick. There are so many dynamics, and your child is going through it. So don't minimize and wonder what will be stressing a teenager. The topic that even we have, the going through body changes. Recently, I was in a platform where I realized parents will be asking, why is my child, my boy, wearing baggy clothes? Why is my girl wearing baggy clothes? Puberty is very confusing, both hormone-wise, mentally, all that. So their body has not figured itself out. So the best way is, instead of having to wear fitting or these clothes, the usual clothes that parents would prefer, let me just wear baggy, because at that point, my department up here for the girls, let it figure itself out until later. For the boys, their department down there, let them wear the baggy shorts, because there's a way things are happening down there and they're trying to figure it out. But nobody is telling them. You're just waiting for 13. But puberty starts way before that. So let us have this conversation. How do you raise resilient children? Start early. And even though they're 18, even though they're 15, even though they're 10, even though they're 2, it's okay. Give yourself grace. There's no proper manual like that tells you when a child does this. And then child number 1 and child number 2 are 2 different versions. Even though they are twins, triplets, quadruplets, they will show you signs and wonders. And you will look at those children and wonder, how have we survived out of it? Like everything has happened. How have we survived? So start early. Let them tie their shoelaces. Don't buy Velcro every single time. Velcro is also the strip that you just put. Let them learn how to, they can practice even when they're watching TV or when you are in the house, how to button up, how to zip up, how to brush their teeth instead of being in a hurry. Ask. I don't, like they ask you a question and you're like, I don't know. That's interesting. How do you think buttons work? How do you think washing your teeth or brushing your teeth works? How do you think cooking an egg or making pizza or making ugali or how do you think it works? So you get their brains like, and you know how they're experimental and everything. So you just give them a safe space. They are safe. I'm not saying you just give them room in the kitchen and then we are having 911 or the fire department. Terms and conditions apply. So start where you are. Now, family traditions. I love this, like birthdays. Please celebrate your children like crazy. You as an adult, it reaches a point you're like, okay, yeah, sour, cakey. You don't even, the day passes and you're like, that's okay. The thing about it is, celebrate your children, even though it's not the birthdays. Make sure that Christmas, vacations, Easter, and all that. I know we may not celebrate Thanksgiving, but that's the picture that I could get. but make a fuss out of celebrating each other. It gives them a sense of belonging. And for sure, unajua, I am a Mutegi. Like if there's one thing I love is that name. I am a Mutegi. So how do they know? Don't just wait for academics. Please stop being a principal, stop being a school matron, stop being a headmistress to your child. That the only relationship you're having is asking them, why are you watching? Why are you eating? Why are you? And Max Zarko's in the poor. Even I may be preempting, but your children should not just be book smart, they should be street smart. So use your time together. You will not have, you cannot make a withdrawal where you're not made a deposit. So how will they be listening to you when you haven't listened to them? At what point do you want them to celebrate you when you have not celebrated them? So you have to make deposits intentionally, even though time is running out and you have to be away, you have to be at work, whatever, intentional. And make deposits. Create. Let them even ask them, by the way, what would you like us to do? It is not, yes, it is your kingdom. Yes, it is your home. But the stakeholders also should have a say. And the stakeholders are children and they're your legacy. So it should not be the only thing I can remember about my father. My mother is the discipline and academics. Be a safe space. Ladies and gentlemen, parents and guardians, the weird place you find yourself in is when you're coming home after a long day, jam, traffic, boss, proposals, deadlines, you would like your home to be a place where you just relax. But your children are finding you as their main source of entertainment, and that's where your worlds collide. So it's telling them, okay, give me some time. Let me enter, shower. If you need to scream into the pillow, scream. For the men who, if you have not cried, cry in the shower. And then say, sabuni imeingia kwa macho. Like, do what you need to do so that when your child says something or jumps into you or whispers in your ear, you're not getting so irritated because of the backlog or the weight you have carried from work or from the outside world. So, and then when they share with you, in one of my videos, I mentioned about family meetings. I'm not saying it has to be like a conference where you have budgets and everything else and then say, we are summoning. Sometimes you can do that, but you have this aspect of, okay, so can we have a conversation? So it can be after Sunday. You're having a discussion and you're having people, the children tell you things. Please find out, be curious to find out, am I a good parent to you? Ask your child that. Because you are running a company, quote unquote, you're looking over stakeholders, but you are not getting feedback. Like you're believing whatever my way is, you say that my way or the highway. Can you be vulnerable enough to find out from the children, am I a good parent? Where can I improve? And don't catch feelings. Catch flights and catch other things, but don't catch feelings. Be a safe space, because in that quote at the bottom there, if you continuously judge and punish me for sharing that I may have seen, I may have watched, I may have said, I may have gone, if you keep judging and punishing me for sharing aspects of my life with you, don't be surprised when mteja hapatikani. There is something to do with discipline. So you need to set logical consequences. There's rewards and there's consequences. Mobile phones is a whole different topic. Watching TV is a whole different topic. Can your consequences of misbehavior, of indiscipline, be related to the behavior? It's not like where we say about ladies that when we are arguing, you start bringing issues from 1978 or the what? Is it the Cold War or the World War I? It's not bringing issues from way back then. It is related to the behavior. So you are mean to your brother, make his bed. You are mean to your sister, give each other a hug or write a whole composition or a few words of why I love my sister, my mother, my. So it has to be respectful. And that's why I always say, as a parent, as a guardian, don't ever punish a child by not celebrating their birthday. Because you did not make your bed, you did not get this grade, we are not celebrating your birthday. That child will forever remember that there was lack of respect. Get something else, but don't hurt the living daylights, the very fiber of your child just to get a point through. You will lose them. Then be reasonable. Okay, so does this child, is it that they're not making their bed, they're not washing dishes, they're not packing their bags, they are not being considerate about TV, they are destroying their siblings' toys? Is it that they do not understand? Because there's an aspect of you understand and you're thinking they should know. They may not know. There are things like cracking an egg. It looks simple, but then it becomes messy. So can you look at how do they become responsible for their actions? Yes, you can communicate, but you don't have to punch. You do not, if it is me as a mother, and that's what I was saying about you taking some time, so that if anything, if you realize a knife has been left, they have drawn on the wall and you recently repainted it, or they have your sofa set, your leather sofa set has been cut. You don't beat that child kichapo ya mbwa because you lose them at that point. So how do you get logical consequences? I want to go through and then so that we can have some time. I'm saying, so we have persistence and the power of yet. So we say, I cannot ride a bike yet. I cannot bake a cake yet. I cannot dance yet. I am trying to be good at math. I'll get there. I'm not good yet. So it's the aspect of riding a bike, patience. You have to fall, get back up. Dancing, right, whatever it is, you need to do so many, like different repetitions. Like, is it Thomas Edison with the lights? Like 1,000 trials until he got it right. So you're telling the child, you need to persevere, and you give them examples of yourself, which are relevant. Don't traumatize your child with stories that they cannot. So you're like, by the way, I tried. When it comes to exams, I was like this. When it comes to job, I was like, so you have to give them the power of yet. And they're like, I can learn. I can take time and effort. And why this is important is because if you look at social media, you will see someone making like a video, a 3-second, 10-second, whatever seconds. They show from beginning to end, and it is within seconds. Inaonekana kila kitu, food ready, art, magnificent art ready. But you try and do that exact thing that person has done and shown you within seconds. You realize there's a lot of patience. It's just that they took those moments and they condensed it to a very few minutes. So they have to realize, by the way, lazima usweat, lazima ungangane, na saa zingine utakwama. But it's okay. But they learn and then figure it out. I believe in you. What is the problem? They are leaving their stuff at home. Lost and found is their new wardrobe. Is it they always forget their homework? Is it that they are not making their bed? Is it this aspect of the gadget? Is it about making showering? Especially when it comes to the boys. I know they're girls there, but usually the boys, wow, na maji, saa zingine, especially teenagehood, it becomes like oil and water. Dental hygiene, house duties. What is this thing that is confusing, that is not making sense, that you keep on repeating over and over again? Like, how many times do I have to say? And then kiboko pa. And now that I'm there, please, ladies and gentlemen, parents and guardians, don't discipline, don't punish your child with your any part of your body, your hand, your feet. You'd rather externalize it with a slipper or one object. Identify what is the object for that. Because in the African society, I'm not going to lie and say that you're not going to use the spanking, but you're not hitting them like a donkey, and you're not using the same hand, that you are punishing them, and then the next time you're the one who is going to hold them with love. Confusion. So what is the problem? Where, who, why, what, where, all those things. Get me chini and say, by the way, we are now going to do like an investigation and make it fun. And yes, there are times when you'll be serious, but make it fun and like, okay, these household duties, do you need, like, if you are to be given one area in this house, what area would you like to handle? And then if it is the kitchen, mambia dishes, sour. Because ladies and gentlemen, for me, I prefer washing dishes to washing clothes. If I could get a washing machine, which is a prayer item, I would get a washing machine. But dishes, warm water or not, music, and I will wash those things. Toilet duties, lazima nioshe. But I'm saying you don't give them forever. You say like for this month, it is you washing dishes, or this week, then you switch it around. They get to help out in the house without push and shove. Problem solved. There are things that are non-negotiables. It is you saying, but you also have to realize, especially as the child grows older, there has to be negotiation. It's not a dictatorship. When they're younger, come, twende, shika, unambeba, kind of. But when they're older, you have to have a better way of conversing. Now, social media. Ooh, the things we are getting left, right, and center. And these are topics about reproductive health. I have this many girlfriends. When it comes to money, chop my money, and I'm using the phrase of the world, where you just, I show you money, 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 money. So I'm looking fabulous. I look like I've just come from a magazine or from a boutique. So relationship dynamics, there's what are they called? Couple goals. So you're like, ooh, this kind of thing. If there's something that our children need to do, is they have to think for themselves. Stop believing everything, even for us as parents and guardians. Stop believing that everything that is being passed on the social media. Because if there's something, there's AI, artificial intelligence, there's Photoshop, of which has happened recently with this faith-based issue that we are facing. You're suddenly seeing that so and so was in this. You don't have to believe everything. And there are people who are intentionally putting content so that your child can be, to target a child, and you don't have to take everything. You have to know how to sieve the information. And how will you do this? You have to think. Someone tells you there's bang, and parents, if there's something that there's a problem with the career I'm facing, I'm handling, how do you convince a child not to take bang? Because if they have never overdosed, you've never seen someone on the news saying they have overdosed on bang. They may have overdosed on alcohol, they may have overdosed, so they may not take alcohol, but bang, italetwa. So how do you have this conversation of telling the children that when it comes to bang, marijuana, this thing that you can smoke, you can eat, whatever it is, your child may not go for it, but someone will bring it to them. You'll be like, by the way, you may tell me that it helps me with my studies, but I think I'm good. Like for now, but that one, because with bang, you have no idea what craziness it will reveal later on. The side effects are very long term, and it hits and inalipuka. So how do they think for themselves without this, what do you call them? Dead fish go with the flow. Let them go against the current. Let them be bold enough to be the odd one out, but with information. Don't just tell them nisikuone ukikunywa, nisikuone. It worked for us, quote unquote, but it will not work for them. Social media is still there, and Google will give you everything else. Now, develop a sense of purpose. When I say it, please don't be a what? A principal. I was about to say magistrate. Don't just focus on your child's academics. They need to be street smart. And I'm saying this as a counselor who is handling issues of addiction. And most of the support system, the family members or whoever is in that person's area, and especially for alcoholism, that's a main one that shows up on my desk or my entry. They keep on saying, huyu alikuwa napata A. But the thing about it is, life is not fair to the book smart people, because I may be good at book smart, but there's a guy, there's a situation that will take me down and will not rely on logarithms or physics and organic chemistry. Nah, it will need me to know, am I being lied to? How do I become a good friend? It is this aspect of, how do I not focus on just being good at books? Academics, good, go all the way. But you need to know how to navigate through traffic to navigate your way in a new town, in a new city, in a new country. If you do not have your Google, how do you know how to navigate? If they are always on their phones when you're going to church, when you're going to school, let them look out and know how, if I was to get home, if I was to get to school, if I was to get to what are the routes? They need to be street smart, because in school, you're taught a lesson and then given a test. But in life, you're given a test and then it gives you a lesson. Let your children become bored. Let them be bored, not all the time. But my question is even to you as a parent and a guardian. And I know I use this interchangeably because the terms and conditions apply. If right now, like during the day, and you're not able to get out of the house, I want to use the aspect of during the day. If the steam maisha, hakuna tokens, your phone is off, all the gadgets are off, and you have to stay in the house, what would you do? Ask yourself that question. We keep pointing and saying our children wanaona TV sana. But right now, and I keep using this phrase, when you wake up, do you check whether your legs are still working, or do you check your Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp status? Which one do you check first? Our children are going to school, and for those 8 hours, quote unquote, depends on the situation, they are not always on gadgets. They're coming for that gadget at home. Yes, during the holidays, it changes because of the number of hours. But wewe ukiamka simu. If right now you look for your phone, wherever it is, it's not where you thought it was, heart attack, heart palpitations. You even get an emotional breakdown, emotional damage, as they say nowadays, with the hashtag and everything. So your children need to get bored. And why this is important for me is stop entertaining your child every point. They have to figure how to be by themselves with no entertainment. And that means books like this. If I was to come to your house, if I was to put all the non-academic books next to your TV, see vitabu za shule. If I was to come and ask, what are the recreational reading materials your children have in your house? And I put it next to your TV, which one will be bigger? Chances are TV. Your children need to learn about books. And I'm pointing this because, yes, they are here. They need to focus on paper. They need to focus on like writing, because not everything in their life will be about screens and just changing channels, flipping, and characters coming in. And I always use an example of one of the children in my lines who mentioned that they used to watch cartoons, and there's the lion, and the lion is talking, and they're not eating the zebras, they were defending the zebras. But now this one time we had put the National Geographic or those Nat Geo things, and then there's a lion. The lion is not talking, and the lion is eating a giraffe. And the boy is asking, kwa nini lion haiongei? Their realities can be worked. The Cocomelon, I'm very sure there's a parent who knows all the songs from Cocomelon, the Two Finger, Baba Fingers, or all the ducks and everything else. The ants went marching one by one. You will know them because it's on repeat, and all the movies. But intentionally, nyinyi nyote, as much as possible, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, hakuna mtu anatumia gadget, hata wewe. Stop pointing a finger at them, and you have triple portion. They have never seen you reading a book. They have never seen you writing. But you want them not to watch TV, but you're on your TV, you're on your small TV. You're telling them to read a book. They have never seen you reading a book. How do they know how to take care of, like niko peke yangu? How do they stay okay with themselves, bored, but still make sense? And that means they'll not be so quick to go for entertainment, to go for a relationship, to go for, like, they will not be looking for the next high, because TV gives us a high. So make them be bored, not make them, enable them to be bored. Games, books, activities, projects, gardening, do it, cookery, baking, let them do that. Join them in the gadget-free days. Don't start something you cannot sustain. Ukisema msikojia hamkufanya hivi, hakuna TV kwa hii nyumba, what will they do? They will come to you for entertainment. So ensure their books, ensure their games, so that even when you say there's no TV, they can go to the games and the books, but not, and also to you, because you also need to play with them. I'm hoping I'm doing good with time. Okay, yes, I'm almost there. So create a coping toolkit. There's something I have looked at, and it is about loss and grief. There is the aspect of, okay, so if I do not have money, so what if a boy says he doesn't like me? What if a girl says she doesn't like me? What if the friends I had in primary school are no longer there? I now have to make new friends in high school. And this place is like monolization or not, it is a new place. I was the brightest or the topmost in primary school. Then all of a sudden, we all bunched up, and now I'm average. Let children from the Wakiwa Dogo, let them know that I can see you are angry, so that they know about the hitting. We do not hit, we say. When it comes, so increase the emotional vocabulary. And for the children to be like the smiley faces, you're happy, sad. And then when they are getting to the older generation, not older, the teens, the preteens and the teens, let them diversify their vocabulary. Like one of my favorite words is discombobulation. I'm very sure if you were to try and say that, it's like PLO Lumumba, you wonder what was the word? Discombobulation. It is basically a big word that means I'm confused. So in you yourself as a parent, when you're watching the news, be careful how you're talking, because someone is listening and watching. And that's where they'll know about tribalism, about politics, they'll know about this faith-based, all those things. They increase the emotional vocabulary and tell them it's okay to be angry, but it's not right for you to hit, to bite. Introduce them to role models. Right now, I'll be very curious to find out who your role models were. Wangari Maathai, Nelson Mandela, Princess Diana. Who else was there? I can't remember those others. Try and ask your child who their role models are. Social media influencers, they will be there. And if you look, I know some of them are good. I'm not saying all of them are bad, but you'll notice that it's the dance styles. It will be those who are with the beauty and makeup. It will be those who are good at making, what are they called? Is the cocktails at home, or they have the fabulous house, or they have bought their recent car, or they got a baby and then their husband bought them a Prado. And you as a mom, you gave birth to 5 children. Who gave you a gift? The Lord. May the Lord sustain us. So who are these? Like, I'm looking at Eliud Kipchoge. I'm looking at, what's her name? Michelle Obama. Like, introduce them to people their age who have overcome. Because if you look at it, there are those incidences of suicide and everything, of money coming, easy come, easy go. So who are these people who have overcome things in life? Positive self-talk. Have the words of the affirmation cards. I am brave. I can figure this out. I am beautiful. I am handsome. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. If you look at it from the point of Christianity, you can mix them up. You need to be your child's greatest cheerleader, but they also have to learn how to be their own cheerleader. I know my nose, I know my ears, I know my hair, I know my hands. It might be different, but I love them because A, B, C, and D. This shows like it's what a birthmark from. Let them love themselves, because the world is very, very brutal. You might look fabulous, but someone will pick on the thing I love is teach them that if they're talking to somebody, don't comment or diss someone on something they cannot change within 5 seconds. If I cannot change my nose in 5 seconds, don't comment about it. If I cannot change about my pimples or my acne, don't comment about it. If my hair, where am I taking my hair? Where am I getting the different hair? If whatever you're commenting or talking or mchongo about is something a child or someone cannot change within 5 seconds, then measure. Let them not be mean. Deep breathing, blow bubbles, count backwards, create art, walk away, jog. Blow the bubbles or the balloons and pop them. Read books, because this one at least calms it down. Listen to music. The other one I like is scream into a pillow. Don't scream at a person. Don't beat somebody. And they are unga ya chapo, easy, or get the carpet, dust it. You have to tell them, by the way, there are other ways of coping with this information, this discombobulating feelings, without hurting yourself or someone else. So this is just a slide. I believe this will be made available in due course. So you have the how do you take care of your feelings? And then how do you reach out for help? It is okay not to be okay. There's a time when you will be in your feelings. For the ladies, it might be because of the days of the month or just life. They should not be mentioning it just because it's your day of the month now. For the men, I don't know what goes on with you, but I'm very sure there's a way. And I tell the people I work with, there's a way that society, if you don't have a title and you don't have money, men are put on the side. Like we discuss them very fast. But there are things that men are going through and they're not having the safe spaces to talk. So how do you reach out for help? Who are these people? And because I said we are the gated community, give them a support. And because you cannot be the only supporter for your child, introduce them and tell them it's not a sign of weakness. And even as I come close to the end, are you a helicopter parent or a hummingbird parent? I know there are different ways, but I like how this means. So be a hummingbird parent, not a helicopter parent. Helicopter, I wish we could afford a helicopter to avoid the jams, sometimes the traffic jam. A helicopter parent pays extremely close attention to a child or your children's experiences and problems. So now kids need to learn that they can do it by themselves. They can cope with their emotions, they can care for themselves, and they can interact with others. So as my closing statements are, be a hummingbird parent. And it says, I hover. That means you know how if you look at the hummingbird, it flies at very many beats a second or something of the sort, but it's quite fast. I hover nearby, but not over my kids. I remain distant enough to let them explore and learn to solve problems. I teach them skills mainly by example. I zoom in only when their survival is threatened. That's when you go, like parent mode. Wow. My goal for them isn't a risk-free childhood, but a resilient life. So ladies and gentlemen, those are my contacts, 0721950036. My email is my name, faithmutegi@gmail.com. My Facebook, you look for Mutegi Faith. I usually share content, whether it will be my own personal, but there'll be child parenting content there, motivational content also. And then I am a YouTuber. Hata mimi nimeamua wacha nikuwe kwa mtandao. With my word count, I needed to put it somewhere. So the YouTube channel, just look for my name, Faith Mutegi, or Parenting Conundrums. If there's one thing I know is sikukula school fees ya English, pengine hesabu, na chemistry, but with school fees for English, Parenting Conundrums, which means it's the confusing thing about it. So those are my platforms, and I would like now to take it back to studio because I believe for now I have tried to bunch as much as I could, and there'll be different ways you go about with if you go to the platforms, you find about resilience, but it is basically ensuring how can my child survive in a world without me. Yes, from afar, like a hummingbird parent, and then when they need me, I show up. Okay, so thank you so much. I give you a hug, and now over to, I believe, James or the next back to studio. Let me just say back to studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let me take it up for the questions. Thank you so much, Faith. So many comments. People are putting up comments, how they have appreciated the talk, such wonderful lessons. Indeed, a fabulous session. And now I go to one of the questions that have been posted. So Joyce is asking that in this generation of the microwave, we want things so fast. And with a lot of influencers who are showing that you can make your money so fast, how do we teach our children about how things that they take time for them to come to pass? So you could pick that one as I get to other questions.
Okay, that's an interesting question. And for me, it is one that is very, very real, because there are those parents who are like, okay, my daughters, my sons is saying, I'm done with school, I want to be a YouTuber. For me, I'm looking at, there are two ways to look at it. Number one, so you want to be a YouTuber, you want to be you want to be an influencer. What is the game plan? Like, what do you need? Those resources, because they want to start something. So you have to give them a reality check. So it is, what do you need for you to be an influencer, or for this to happen, for your idea to come to fruition or to maturity. So it is like almost getting them to the aspect of a business plan, because even for you to start something like a business or anything of the sort, you have to figure out, okay, do I need to get a loan? Do I need to save up and all that? So let them get the reality of that. Depending on the age, if it is that something of how do you explain that things take time? So they want food. Ask them what is their favorite, or find out what's their favorite food. It's pizza. Nowadays, if you're able, nowadays, especially with the pandemic, people learned how to do things at home. So how do you make pizza? So they take them through the process of what does pizza entail? And I know I'm using different examples. So if it's social media, what are the tools? What are the gadgets you need and all that? If it is food, like children are like, I want food and all that. Tell them, okay, so it's pizza you love, good. So what are the ingredients for pizza? Or if it's ugali, kuku, sukuma wiki, or whatever greens they are able to take down, you have that aspect of, okay, so what is needed for this? So you have an ingredient list. From ingredient list, take them to the supermarket. You are not buying, we are finding out how much it costs. So unga, the chapati flour, whatever the flour is, or if it is the pre-made pizza dough, because I believe that is there. So what are the ingredients? Okay, so how much money does it mean? Does it need this? So you take them through one by one to the point where you're figuring out that things don't just happen, because unfortunately the world that the children are living in is, if they need something, if we need something, we dial, it's delivered. So that means it's waiting somewhere. The ATM, you just press a few dials, money comes out of the wall. So the ease of convenience, you need to let children realize that things don't just come so easily. The phones, we are giving children phones. They have not worked for it. I'm not saying it's bad, but all of a sudden it becomes this thing of theirs that they may not take care of. So if it breaks all that, so you need, for me it is, okay, so is it that, what is this thing that they want here and now? How do I break it down? Or even take them to a place where pizza is made, where if there's someone who is doing the content, they show you what is needed, because they are just consuming, they're not realizing the behind the scenes. So for me, it is take them behind the scenes, take them behind the curtain. Money doesn't just show up, food doesn't just show up, a career doesn't just show up. Even the influencers, most likely, they have something on as a backup. So continue with school, but this can be a hobby that you can grow later, but don't lose everything because of one thing. So I think for me, it's break it down.
Excellent. That's such a great response. So another question is that I think you indicated that we have probably one or another, as we hovered upon the children, maybe we have hurt their feelings and emotions. So how do we unwind that? Yeah.
Give yourself a hug. Start there. Give yourself grace. By the way, if there's a career, there's a profession that needs as much grace is parenting. Because even the president, Mzazi, even whoever, the engineer, space, astronauts, it's the parents. So start by giving yourself a hug, okay? Then, what is the thing that pained you? The child might be older. So it's now that you know better, you do better. If it's an older child, we have forgotten the art of letter writing. We always want to communicate by word. So if there's something you need to get off your chest, you can have this aspect of, I write it down in a journal, you can dedicate it for that, you put it under their pillow, let them communicate to you like, okay, by the way, if there's something I know I am sad about is the way I handled this situation. Is there, if you're ever comfortable enough, let me know if there's a way I can rectify, or how we can move beyond it. But there's this aspect of being vulnerable. I'm not saying you become lower than your child. I'm saying you still become the parent, but you are admitting that, by the way, I don't have it all figured out. I did not have this information then, but I have it now, and I feel that I I am persuaded and I feel the need to just let you know, I am sorry when I slapped you. I am sorry when I did this. I am in a better position and I'm open enough for you to have a conversation with me. It is letting children know that it is okay to say sorry. It is using different forms of communication, not just talking, because there's a way when you tell a child to sit down on the sofa set, things just go south. So when you're driving, talk to the child. You're not having like staring into the eyes. You're just having this moment. You're taking walks. That's what I'm saying about the family traditions. Let it be a family meetings. You're like, okay, without any judgment, is there any feedback? Is there any recommendation? Any? So I'm saying, there are topics that may have passed with time, but if you can write it down, you can. If you can have a conversation in a safe space, na mmekula, eat. Don't talk when you are hungry. Be careful if you are a lady. Don't talk when your moods are, your days are up and about. Like, just take care of yourself first. Do you need to pray? Do you need to forgive yourself? And then you see how best. And if you need more resources, I'll be there for you, because right now I'm trying to see how best to answer in a general way. So if there's a specific concern, you can get in touch with me and then we can go step by step to the best of my ability.
Okay, thank you very much. In case there's any parent or any person who wants to ask a question, you can still raise your hand and we'll give you the opportunity. But in the meantime, as you just told us to make a fuss, to celebrate, I think we just read out the comments just to celebrate this awesome presentation that you have made for us. So Rahab says, thank you, very straightforward, interesting and informative. God bless you for taking your time to prepare for us. Eric says, well done, Teacher Faith, awesome lessons and quite informative. Esther says, very informative lessons there. And so many other people say how useful this has been. And so I guess in case we have, do you have any other person who wants to pose a question to Teacher Faith? So Cyrus says, very good lessons, Faith, I've learned in an application mode. Blessings. So in case, so maybe the parting shot. What is your parting shot when as we wrap this up?
Okay, my parting shot is, and even as I'm passing on the information to you, it's I came across this phrase from one of the platforms that I'm working that I'm also learning from, and it says, acknowledge what you know about parenting, acknowledge what you know about your child, and then acknowledge what you know, acknowledge what you don't know, and acknowledge where you need help. Acknowledge what you know. You're like, by the way, celebrate yourself. There's a time when my child A, B, C, and D, by the time the Lord has been gracious. Celebrate yourself. Acknowledge what you know. Then acknowledge, by the way, when it comes to matters of reproductive health, when it comes to matters of puberty, when it comes to matters of financial literacy, when it comes to matters of relationships, I do not know how to go about this. I am not able to be mama boy. I am mama boys, but I cannot speak about boy issues. I am baba girls. I do not know how to speak girl issues. And then acknowledge where you need help. Help is someone can send a resource to you. Help is you can send your children to that resource. And then your child is not if you are having multiple children, interact with them as personally as you can. Make time and quote unquote date your child. Dating your child means you have a day out with them. You have a movie date with them. You have 5 kids, you have 4 kids. Tell them, okay, so which day, what activity would you like to do with me as mom, with me as dad? Not, see, me, you will have the time for family rituals. So what can I do with you as my daughter Faith, with you as my son? Because most of the children, multiples, not twins, I'm saying more than one child, they're interacting with you as a group. And if they see that you're not paying attention, because there could be a sick child, there could be a younger one, a newborn, there could be, they will take their time, they will keep away, because see, you figure out, me, I'll figure out by myself. So that's why you start wondering, how comes my son, my child, I know, seriously, that's not how I understand them. So you need to intentionally interact with your child with activities you love and you'd like to pass on to them. So as a father, teach them about the cat, teach them about football, teach them about whatever it is. As a mom, teach them about cook and whatever it is that you want to empower them. But also ask them, what would you like me and you to do? And then you can make it intentional, and don't start something you cannot sustain. So don't start saying we shall go to the moon and you can only land on the stars, or even be specific, you just stay in your house. So acknowledge what you know, acknowledge what you don't know, acknowledge where you need help, and intentionally date your child, intentionally learn, have personal time with your child. Those are my sentiments. And because I know I can continue, I will put the future recordings on my YouTube channel. So on those topics. But yeah, that's how I can end for today.
Wow, thank you so much. I think we are just so blessed to have you, and I think the way we say that, I'm sure this seed has fallen on rich ground, and we will see the fruit, and you will live also to see the fruit of this discussion and webinar.